I was aiming to start with an example I had last year about business and digital transformation and technology. So I happened to be present in a meeting to explain to these people, which you can understand when you have 8 different business people in the meeting. It's very difficult to explain what we are doing. So I was trying to explain digital transformation and automation and machine learning and AI to all these people. Of course, I failed because I was trying to explain the benefits that this digital transformation has on their company. And everybody was seeing from their perspective how the product might fail or how it might work without taking into account the rest of the people. So after an hour or so, when I was, I finished the presentation, we had a discussion, I started packing my stuff, and I said, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you answer, so I gave them a piece of paper, if you are 10–15% within the same range, I will leave and will not have another meeting. But if you don't succeed that, we have another meeting and let me explain to each team what we actually are trying to do. So the question was, how much money did you make last month? And the CEO, of course, laughed. He says, I know how much money I made. The CFO definitely knew. And then every person was starting to write a number. And these are the managers of each department. So they started fighting. After 2 minutes, they started fighting because the difference between what they were thinking they were making to what they were actually making was very frustrating. So what I was trying to explain to them in an hour is by not having these solutions in a place where you can monitor every day in real time, you cannot take informed decisions. And we are always talking about, AI is going to replace all these jobs and make them disappear. But actually, a lot of jobs were generated through this process. Anyway, I left the office, and an hour later, they called me back to sign the contract, and we've been doing this automation for a year and a half now for them. So for us, this channel of innovation, I don't know if you've heard, this is a theory developed in 1962 about diffusion of innovations, how it impacts innovation, different organizations, and how people adapt either early or late. So do you know anyone knows any Cypriots? No? You know any Cypriots? So in Cyprus, we know almost everything there is. I mean, you jump from knowledge and awareness to continuation and implementation. So when you go and present AI now in Cyprus, everybody's familiar with AI. Everybody knows what it does. They know how to implement it. They don't need anyone. So they are ready to go, which is an issue. So what we are trying to do is slow them down. You have to understand whether you are knowledgeable, whether you need convincing, because a lot of people, I think they are still in the persuasion stage where we have to convince them that this tool is going to work, the AI, the machine learning, the automation, whatever you call it. And as soon as you convince them, they think it's done. I want the tool now, which actually needs to, we need to understand where to implement the tool and not just implement AI in all the different infrastructure of the organizations. So there are a lot of challenges to how to simplify things. Again, one of the biggest mistakes I was making when going around the countries and business and clients, when I was asked about this whole business, I was always saying it's simple. I can do that. Can you do it? Yes, of course, it's simple. It was simple enough for me because I've been doing this for several years, but it was very difficult for someone to understand how can I wake up one morning and have the whole business in my tablet and understand all the operations. So for me to automate 10 different databases, have 5 algorithms running at the same time, have the log files coming every 2 minutes on my laptop. So all this process it's quite easy for me to understand. So we have to simplify what we explain and what we do, and we have to be very careful because, computers are a bit stupid. You tell them do that, they do that, right? So if you are automating a process and you automate the process to do X amount of calculations, it will do them and stop. So if you miss something out at the beginning, you end up a year later or 2 years later finding out that this part, was not actually in the process and I missed it. So we have to be careful on what we take into account at the beginning. We have to be careful on how we leverage the expertise. We cannot have everything in-house. We cannot have everything outsourced. When we outsource something, it doesn't mean that we don't have people inside working on it. The second example is churn models. I don't know if you are familiar with probabilities predicting who is likely to shop, who is likely to leave their husbands, their wives, who is likely to bet, who is likely to... So whatever likelihood you can predict, you can use a model if you have enough data. So that was the easy part, to identify these customers. People don't churn for the same reason. Some people churn because they don't like, they don't find their products. Some people churn because they don't like the price of the retailer. So when we decomposed those reasons, we created automated campaigns in order to reward these people differently. So when you are in a shop and you are likely to churn, so you have a 90 probability chance of churning, you don't want to push them to buy more stuff. You want to reward them. So you need to reward them and you need to track them in order to make sure that the campaign was effective. So a machine learning model, it's easy again to explain. It's a model that you have on a machine that can learn from the outcome that you've sent. So this automation really helped. You still have the person that was doing the checks, checking the outputs and the reports, but the process was automated in order to estimate the probability of every person to shop and send personalized campaigns. We use the recommenders engine. So I'll tell you an example to understand if you watch Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. So I like a lot of comedies, but I don't watch a lot of comedies. So I know that sounds like something you wouldn't do, but when I'm watching, let's say, an action movie, I never get proposed a comedy. So depending on how you set up your model in the recommendation engine, there is also the probability that people see action, but they also see comedy. So you need to find these algorithms that they are going to propose diverse and different products. The same with supermarkets, the same with online shopping, electronic shops. And so there are two ways mathematically to do that. Proposing in the same category and proposing in different categories. So that's, again, something we automated. And when we are talking about Cyprus, again, Cyprus retailers, because we are only 1 million people, they can do it manually. Cyprus, I will send them the products, I will call them, it's fine. But when we are talking about bigger countries, you have to automate the campaigns and the personalization. And the last thing about the targeted email marketing, we have a cooperation with a cosmetic chain. And I remember the first time we got data in 2013 from them, I was very surprised about the content of the data. So we started developing KPIs and statistics, and I was seeing some creams about 500 euros, 600 euros each. And I called the guys and I said, this is something wrong. And because of this 50 ml, 200 euros, 300 euros. Anyway, the IT called me back. He says, you are a very lucky guy, because if you don't know this product, it means that your wife doesn't buy this product.